I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-minute convos where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good night, Tony DiLorenzo. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful night?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
I'm excellent. It's a great pleasure to connect with you, Tony.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Thanks a lot, Angel.
You are welcome. So tell me, what part of the world are you in right now?
I live and have lived in San Diego for the last 14 years.
Yeah, you sound as though salt water is pretty close to you.
I don't know if it's the salt water or just the sunshine I get every day.
Yeah, definitely know about that sunshine. Well, that's great. Well, Tony, please do tell us which of your talents that you've been operating in that is responsible for us connecting at this time in our lives.
So my specific talent is just working with marriages across the world.
Who did you learn that skill from?
You know, it's a crazy story, but Elisa and I right now have been married 21 years, and the first 11 years weren't good. Thank you, man. Thank you. The first 11 years weren't good, man. We had massive debt. We had loss of a child. We dealt with pornography in our marriage. We just weren't connected. And at an 11-year mark, we were looking at each other. And for the second time in our marriage, we're really considering divorce. And it was at that time that we just said, you know what? Either A, we're going to get a divorce and just move on our separate ways, which we really didn't want to do. B, we could just hang out and make it work, just go through the motions, the day-to-day until both of our kids were 18 and out of the house, and then we would decide what to do then. Or C, let's get radical. And we decided to get radical. And so at the 11-year mark, we took on a challenge. We challenged each other, I should say, to 60 days of sex.
Sounds like fun. Did you hear the sarcasm? Did you hear the sarcasm in my voice?
Yes, I did. Oh, I got it. Yeah. It was a challenge, though, man. And to have a 5 and a 2-year-old at the time, we ended up completing 40 out of 60 days, which to us was awesome and amazing. Yeah. And it was at that point in time that our lives and our marriage were truly transformed, and we wanted to share it with other couples. And so over the last 10 years now, our main mission in life and our goal in life is to reach marriages, impact lives, show them that they can have an extraordinary marriage, and even through the ups and downs, like go on through life.
So is it that you're using one key factor as the encourager for better relationships, which is sex, or is there other things that surround the way you coach marriages?
So sex is one of them for sure, but there are 6 different forms of intimacy that we look into. So we look at your emotional intimacy, your financial intimacy, your spiritual intimacy, your intellectual intimacy, your recreational intimacy, and then lastly, that physical and sexual intimacy. Yeah. So by looking at that intimacy circle, we see all 6 of those, and how do those relate to your spouse and to yourself, and where are you at different times? And then we discuss and we talk about each one of those.
That is intriguing. Well, Tony, here it is. I thought I connected with you via your podcast, and it's you definitely experiencing a marriage change, if you would, that you're helping others as well with. That is fascinating. Well done. Thanks for definitely being that person.
Thank you. Yeah, and you know what? The podcast has allowed us to show folks that they're not alone. Like when you're at your worst or you're at a tough point, Elisa and I have dealt with those. Not all of it, we haven't gone through every single situation that folks could go through in their marriage. And yet we've gone through enough that we get behind those microphones and we share openly, honestly, and truthfully. Like we had a bad time. Like we had a horrible vacation. And why was that? And what do we learn from that? And what can we share with the one family to go, you know what, next time we go on vacation, that's not going to happen. And so I just think of that one because we did a show called Sexpectations, and it was all around sex and vacation and how we see vacation. Some of us see vacation as a time to just have fun because we have nothing else on our mind, but we can go have sex. But then our spouse may be in a whole nother, place of just like, well, great, I just get to relax and do nothing. Like I'm off for the week. And that causes this expectation gap in sex. And so we talk about things like that, or kids, or money, or whatever it may be. But our big goal is we don't want you to feel like you're the only one going through this, because you're not.
Yeah, which is something that happens in marriages often, right? There's the real story, and then there's the real story. Really glad that
the real story behind the social media post.
Yeah, or even the images, right? Yeah, I like that metaphor. I like that metaphor. Yeah, so there's Facebook, and then there's life.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly, man.
That's great. Where can people go to connect with you? Even the podcast.
Best place, go to oneextraordinarymarriage.com. So ONE extraordinarymarriage.com.
Love it. Well, Tony, please do tell me one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years.
Whoa, over the last 3 years consistently. Man, I would have to say one of the things that I have done personally for myself consistently is get on my bike at least 2 or 3 times a month. And that's pretty good over the last 3 years for me. I've been a huge cyclist all my life since I was age of 14, and it ebbed and it's flowed. But right now, that's probably one of those consistent things. That, and I would say on top of that, in my marriage with Elisa, we make sure to get out at least once a week for a walk together.
Sweet.
Yeah.
How does it make you feel?
You know, the walks with Elisa are amazing. We call them our walk and talks, because we get out of the house, we get away from the kids, and it's just she and I just talking about life and what's happening. And it's really valuable. Getting on my bike, even though I'm not getting on it as much as I would like to, it's a place where it's just me and my bike, and I get to just think and enjoy life, and I'm away from everything else. And I've always loved the feeling of just the wind on my face going 15 miles an hour or 45 miles an hour. It doesn't matter. The duration and the distance has changed over the years as the kids have gotten older, but that it has been a consistent part of my life these last 3 years.
That's good. Why would you suggest to someone that's listening, someone that may have the children, may have the kids, right, and may be married for over 21 years, that they do combine that physical activity in their life, be it cycling or any other physical activity?
Yeah, do it. We tell people all the time, it's that recreational part. What is something you love doing together? Man, for some folks it's playing tennis. For some folks it might be paddleboarding. You know, whatever, kite surfing. We have a number of friends who love just going out on the river together. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, go do it, because hiking, backpacking, and for Elise and I, because we like to do it more on a consistent basis, you know, that walking just allows us to get out and not have to feel like, wow, we have to go somewhere to do it. We can just step out our door and walk for 30 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I know there are many people out there that do not have the sunshine that you have, my friend. But
yes, that does make a difference in those winter months. I will have to agree with you on that.
Well, amazing audience. We are live with Tony DiLorenzo, and again, he is the podcast host of One Extraordinary Marriage. You could also check him out at oneextraordinarymarriage.com, right? Him and Alicia. Well, my friend, let's switch gears for a moment now, and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Tony, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Wow. I remember when my folks moved to the town I grew up in, and it was 1979. I was probably 5 years old, 6 years old. I was 5 years old at the time. And I remember us moving there, and it was, I think, the following weekend, snow fell. And this is in Southern California.
Wow.
Just west of Palm Springs, actually. And I remember the snow falling and meeting my best friend just prior to that. That's probably like my earliest childhood memory. I was 5 years old.
Intriguing. Why do you think this memory is so clear?
Having grown up, I wasn't born here in Southern Cal, but my folks moved here when I was 1. And I think it was such an anomaly, like something so different. Prior to that, we lived in a town called San Pedro by the coast, so you never really saw snow. But I think having gone there and being there such a short period of time and all of a sudden seeing snow I think that's why it's almost seared into my mind. And then I grew up there. I mean, I was there until I was 18 and still go back. My folks still live there.
And the relationship with your friend, that occurred before or after?
It was right about the same time, because I had moved in and he lived 2 doors down.
That is intriguing.
And I still know him today.
Wow.
I still know him today, and we still stay in touch with each other all these years later. Yeah,
that's
almost
great.
40 years later.
Wow. Well, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Sure. I love it.
I love the idea of the way your senses, if you would, connect to something, as you said, like an anomaly, and how that impacts relationships that surround you. So you spoke about you and Alicia and what occurred via the opportunity, like the huge anomaly of doing something really out of the box, if you would, which was sex at that point in time, right? Between a married couple. And to see the way that impacted your relationship as well, it's really fascinating how they're interconnected, if you would. The big thing, the anomaly, to help drive the relationship, if you would.
Yeah, that's good.
If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
12, it had to be something that was Depeche Mode. I don't know which one, but it was most likely some Depeche Mode song.
All right.
Gosh, Just Can't Get Enough rings a bell, but also during that time period, if I'm right, People Are People was one of their big songs. It would have been, it was that band for sure.
It's amazing how these things connect, right? These statements, right? Like, just can't get enough. Well, we definitely know where you stand with that after 40 days, right?
Yeah.
And then even in relationships, people are people. And I think that's a really important concept to understand when approaching relationships, that people are people. And then we can build from there. Yeah, it really sets your expectations upright, if you would.
Yeah.
Really intriguing, right? How it connects.
Yes, that is.
All right. Well, Tony, we've arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready?
Yes.
Tony, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
No.
Are you married? Well, yes, you are married, right? Alicia.
Yes.
Alicia. All right. Do you have children? How many?
2.
Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
How about 3 hours a week?
There's a good football game on, yes.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Less.
After 1,001 conversations in 3 months in 2016, I came up with a workbook, the name of it being called Yours, which stands for Your Own Unique Real Self, with the idea of you answer questions that connect you to your mission, which I term Your Own Unique Real Statement. If you, Tony, had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who you are, what would you say that is?
Vibrant relationship.
Love it. Tony, this was a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Man, I just wanted to share that. I love the way you connect things.
Yeah.
And for those listening, man, if you can do it like Angel does, my gosh, it's just a blessing to be able to see that and connect those dots together. So just thankful for that.
You're welcome. Hey, this was a great pleasure, Tony. Amazing audience. One more time, Tony DiLorenzo. Thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-minute Convos with Angel Jones. Thank you for being on 12-minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.